stream made easy through the magic of the PlayStation. So, if anybody wants to sit around and hang out with me a little bit longer while I work on this mock-up for the exhibit at the museum, I'll be here on YouTube Live. Just gonna ask if you think weed helps you as an artist or helps artists in general. That's hard to say, man, because everything ain't for everybody. It's just not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a drinker. Me and alcohol, yo, that shit just don't mix, man. You know, my chemistry, my mindset, I don't like it. I will drink socially, but just to drink to be drinking and to get drunk and shit, like I don't normally do that. And I don't know, so everything isn't for everybody. And I've seen some people smoke weed that really don't need to smoke weed, yo. Like you don't need it, just that shit ain't good for you. And then I know a few people who they sober as hell and they just have this natural high about them. You know what I'm saying? Some people just high on life. And I know people like this and they just happy, bubbly. You like, yo, what the fuck is you on? And they're on nothing at all. Just high off of life, yo. So is weed for everybody? I don't think so. I've done some of my most creative work sober, like stone sober. So it's just a thing, you know. But yeah. So I have to use my phone to edit some stuff on this YouTube thing, like stop the music and to flip the camera around. Big time. But yeah, definitely go to the YouTube channel. I'm gonna be in here for at least a couple of hours minimum. We can hang out and talk about how Trump said he's gonna build a wall in Colorado. I'm still not over that. I will never get over that because he's gonna build a big beautiful wall in Colorado to help with illegal immigration from Mexico. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, yo. Peace. Ba-dum, ba-dum, da-dum, 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 da-dum. So, what's up? Hey, I got a viewer. It's like just me and you right now. So, you know, you know, private time. Just our little private time. You want to tell me a secret? Why ain't nobody else listening? No, you ain't gotta share your secrets with me. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Yo, man, my man, brother Polite, yo, I respect this dude to the fullest, but his oldest daughter looks just like him. That is, mm. All right, okay. Just sending out a few messages real quick, quickly send out some messages. Hey, quickly send out some messages. mm, okay, enough of that. Yo, what's up? What's up, everybody? Um, Let me plug this up to the charger so this don't go dead on it. Really? Right. Stop with the tomfoolery. Oh, yo, I was watching that Eddie Murphy, I Am Dolomite, Rudy Ray Moore. I really didn't, that's a generation before my time, so I really didn't know the backstory to Dolomite, but it was pretty cool. Like, I didn't finish it, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna finish it tonight, and I really enjoyed it, yo. Isaac Asimov. So hopefully this Bluetooth is connected right.
If we really could have an interface with a computer, with an artificial intelligence that could read our minds, you can imagine it. So if we really could have an interface with a computer, with an artificial intelligence that. So if we really could.
So if we really could have an interface with artificial intelligence or a computer, to actually have a computer in your mind, in your brain, would you do that? Would you undergo some minor surgery that would implant some electrodes or microchips directly into your brain that will allow you to access uh, the capabilities of an artificial intelligence just by thinking about it? Would you do that? Me, I'm going to have to say yes. I definitely would. I would wait until maybe uh, I would probably wait like 5 or 10 years after it's hit the public and it's been tested, well tested and documented that it works. And so 5 or 10 years after the first uh, humans have accepted these implants, and if nothing goes wrong, I would definitely sign up for that shit, yo. Would definitely do it. And so Elon Musk has recently said that he has an intelligence interface capability of a smartphone or any kind of corn grew in North Dakota last year. And so you would have to think about the question to get the information for the question that you're asking. Whereas if this device was directly implanted into your brain, you can skip all of the physical aspects of obtaining the information where you think about something, how much corn was grown in North Dakota last year, and then the answer is instantaneous. And you can say, well, approximately 300 tons of corn grew last year in North Dakota. So we're right on the edge of this type of technology being released to the public, and if they're talking about releasing stuff like this to the public for you know for the public market to consume, then you have to imagine that the military has already perfected this technology or very nearly have it perfected where they don't feel like it would be a major threat or easily weaponized if the public actually gains access to this type of hyper cognitive uh, intelligence. So, yeah, would you get a brain implant that makes you smarter, that will literally connect you to the internet? Would you do that? Just asking the question here, because I know I would.
Have an interface with a computer, with an artificial intelligence that could read our minds. You can imagine a case in which we could be immortal, but that would completely change humanity and what it means to be human.
Merging the human brain with a computer would truly change our species forever. Researchers are developing technology that can transfer data between computers and our brains, and even read people's minds. For now, we have the power to detect brain waves and track electrical pulses within the neurons in our brains, and researchers are using this information, however vague, to aid the differently abled and make life easier for everyone. Among these researchers is 16-year-old Alex Pinkerton.
Really, all that we're working on is a brain-computer interface that utilizes graphene, and hopefully, if our math is correct, it'll be sensitive enough to read the magnetic fields of human thought.
It was in the 1970s that the Department of Defense first started funding brain-computer interface research. That market is expected to reach a value of $1.72 billion by 2022. Big players like Elon Musk and Facebook have teased their entrance into the market, while other companies are showing their work in action, like Control Labs, who created a wristband that measures electrical pulses from the brain to the neurons in a person's arm, allowing them to control a computer. New and exciting research is pouring out of universities like MIT and the University of California in San Francisco. So what is a brain-computer interface?
It's a way in which a computer can take information directly from the brain without you having to type or speak it in and translate that into some kind of action.
That's what Pinkerton is working on, a connection between the brain and a device, like your phone or a prosthesis. He was first inspired by his dad, who works on clean energy.
My dad came in to talk to our class when I was in 3rd grade about graphene, just to give a little presentation. I'm not sure why, but that sort of sparked my interest, and I had just been thinking of, like, why isn't this being used everywhere if it's like the perfect material? And so I started thinking of applications, and at first it was mainly like for the military or something.
Exactly.
Now it's sort of focused
Military.
away from that into well, the brain computer interface and like VR maybe.
And see, this is the thing, like, they have these fucking 15 and 16-year-old whiz kids already trying to solve some of these connection problems, because it will be a reality in their lifetime. If you're 16 years old right now, by the time you're my age, the touch screen will be obsolete. You won't have to touch anything. You will think this shit, yo. You'll be able to think shit and get answers. Or have your whatever kind of device in front of you and think what you want this shit to type up and email to somebody, or type up and print out. You won't have to touch any of this stuff. And this trend is ramping up, and this is the first time I've ever watched this clip right here. Why Elon Musk, Facebook, and MIT are betting on mind-reading technology.
For immersive VR, obviously it could help the disabled.
Yo, this is crazy. We're living in a really, really crazy time right now. It's like I need everything up here, but I don't need it like up here. I need this. Well, no, actually, I'm not going to need this or this. I may need these. I may not need that right now. I'm just throw shit on the floor. I'm going to throw this on the floor, right? I'm going to take this. I'm not going to throw this on the floor. I'm gonna set that right there. I'm gonna take this one and throw that on the floor. I'm gonna set this to the side because I actually need this. All right. My makeshift drafting table. So, what I am doing is, I keep saying this, but I'm not actually doing anything. I'm making these two models, right? So I have these two models for an interactive art exhibit that I want to do at my local museum for Black History Month. And so here's the first model that I came up with, and this is actually the final model. I want these things to be like 5 feet tall, at least 5 feet tall, and made out of like the thick foam board. And so we can print onto the foam board whether it's images and colors or actual text. And the foam board is really sturdy, but it's easy to manipulate and cut with, and you can build all kind of stuff out of it. So it's like a thick plastic version of cardboard, so that's why this model kind of works so well. But essentially, I want to have this model of a local hero, a local strongman, was setting Guinness records back in the day for bench pressing and squats, and just for the community to keep his name alive and remember him. So we were going to dedicate one of the interactive art installation pieces to Chimesy. It's not supposed to work like that. That's how it's supposed to do it, and his arms go up. But I don't know. Like I say, this is kind of makeshift, and what I use as hinges for his elbows and his shoulder joints are causing a lot of friction with the cardboard. But once again, like I say, if I use some high quality foam board and actually like better connector pieces like small screws and washers, this thing should come back down once you release the tension on the string. His arm should come back down on their own. But with this design, it's not. Gravity isn't strong enough. You know what I'm saying? But you see how cool that is, and just so the kids can come in and can like just touch something, and they pull the string and his arms go up, and they go, oh, look. And see, essentially, there would be. I want another panel here. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that one, but I don't know if I should make it on this mock-up or not, but it would be really simple to have another cutout here, and then with a solid panel in front of the cutout, but beneath it would be information on the life of Chimesy Williams and where he grew up in Scranton. And so you would pull the string, and his arms would go up, and then the panel would raise up right beside him or something like that to reveal like this information on him, or this blurb about him. And so I think I will try to incorporate that as well, and then around this have like actual real photographs of him, and like there's some of his records, like his bench pressing records and everything, and have like the real images of that around this kind of caricature version of him lifting these heavy weights up. So I'm gonna show that to the museum. I'm mad. I'm mad that I'm mad at my thing popping like that so easily. Man, yo, this fishing wire says it's tested for 8 pounds. I don't feel like I just put 8 pounds of pressure on that fishing line. You know, either they lying or I'm stronger than I think I am. But damn, I mean, that thing just popped like nothing, man. But once again, with the full version installation, I'm going to use a way durable line, like a cable line, and like handles, and it'll be nice. Trust me. It's not going to be cardboard and scotch tape. I ain't going out like no punk. But and so that's why I'm asking for a grant for this project so that I can afford like really good stuff to build this thing out of. Ah ha ha. You smart as hell. You put a weight behind the weight, and then it'll come back down like a coin or something. Now, if I use that, I'm not giving you no credit. I'm gonna just tell everybody that was my idea. Say no. You get no credit for that one. It was so simple. I should have came up with it myself, but I didn't. That don't mean I'm not taking credit for it though, cause you know how it be, man. Cause anybody else would be like, I would have thought of that. Well, I didn't, mother sucker. I should have though, and so for the simple fact that I should have thought of it, I will take credit for that. Because I honestly feel like eventually I would have come up with that. You know, maybe I would have. So let's just hypothetically say, that I had enough common sense to think of like such an easy solution to the gravity problem I was having. This is why I do YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Weigh it down with some paint. What? Now my fishing line keeps popping. I'm getting frustrated. Because the fishing line was just working just fine. I don't know why it keep popping in that one section. Why won't it? I don't know. Ooh, the fishing weights themselves. What can I get that's stronger than this fishing line? Or I could just double it up, I guess. Let me what if I just double up the fishing line? Because that one piece just pops and pops and pops and pops. Alright. I ain't been fishing and I don't know how long, but I'm in here playing with some damn fishing line. This don't make no sense. You going fishing? Nah, I'm doing an art project. Man, this shit damn near invisible. I can't even see what the hell tying the invisible knot. Jeez. Yeah, see, so I think I may have to, because I have these eye hoops right there to stop for the friction from going in. But once it goes in, yeah, and that's why I didn't put a eye. I did have another eyelet. Where did I just had that thing. Where'd you go? What are you? Are you kidding me? Are you? Are you? I just had that shit. Don't lose the invisible string. Damn. Aha. Ha ha ha. And see with with the foam board, that foam board is so fucking thick, yo. I'm already like imagining like you can get, what are those things called? Not bushings, but like if you drill a little hole in the foam board, you can put like a plastic insert like to fit in there to stop for the friction. So in the final product, it won't be a problem. I just need to get this shit right here to work and work well enough that they can see the final vision. And that shit'll stick out the front though. Damn it, man. These I have some little gold ones. This one's too big. Alright. Look here, fishing wire. You're gonna go in the hole like I want you to. Alright. Alright, so I got the fishing line through the front. So this should be the easy part, at least. It's just tacking this to the putting this part on the weight. Come on. Come on. Damn it, man. Really? I'm gonna fucking... Gee. Christ. Alright, so, alright, now, so I'm gonna take this, right? I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna wrap this shit around. I'm gonna wrap that bad boy. Okay. So I'm gonna wrap that around. And then I'm gonna stick it. Yo, Wayne. Hey, Milkman, what up, B? What up, 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 what up? The whole fam back in the building. Stymie. Wow. So I'm gonna snip that, snip them off. Now I got 2 lines, because that one line kept popping, but you know, yo, unity. Everything's stronger when you come together. You know, the more of us they are, the harder it is for them to knock us over. So you by yourself, you alright, you tough. You tough. But if you got some backup, that means now y'all can jump somebody. I'm just saying, jumping ain't right. But if y'all got the advantage, I'm just saying, nigga, 2 heads better than 1. And if you hit my cousin, you just know I'm gonna hit you. But if I'm by myself, you know, and you got your cousin. But anyway, 2 is better than 1. 2 better than 1. So now I got 2 lines. And I added an extra eyelet to see if that'll help reduce some of the friction from the drag. And now I'm going to take this other spare component, which is actually another, this is just a clamp, a frame clamp for when you try to put a canvas into a frame. You use these mounting brackets, I think they're called. So, you know, I'm just using spare parts over here. I'm gonna wrap that around like that. Take this. I'll do that again. Yeah, y'all don't know how hard it is to see this invisible string. Crap. All right. I'm gonna cut off the excess. And hopefully if I pull this thing, it won't fucking pop off the damn string. I'm gonna pull this. Now I don't want it to pop. Let me bring his arms down. Put your arms down, man. Put your arms down. We ain't ready yet. Okay, now we ready. So when I pull this, his arm should go up, right? Without popping. Man. Yo. It didn't pop. You know what happened? My knot came out. Yeah, how my knot came out though? Up. Up. No. No. I gotta find something better than this fucking fishing line. I need something stronger than this fishing line, yo. What can I think? I don't want to buy like a whole fucking cable just for this fucking cardboard shit though. What is stronger than fishing line but not like real thick and heavy? I'm not trying to, that's what I'm saying. Put one on each side instead of just trying to pull up the mass of the weight from the center point and put one on each arm. put one on each side, and then still have it connected together coming out at the end though. So if I tie a line here, and if I tie a line where his hands are at? I tie a line here and tie a line here, and then have them merge and go back, or have the one line go in here and one line go in here, and then have them come together in the back. Because essentially what I was thinking is the middle point here. So the line comes in, goes down, and then would come over to this one, and then come back out the front side. So essentially a pull down in the front would, but this isn't working. And once again, I think it's part because the cardboard is really stiff where the hinges should be at, because there really aren't any like hinges. So you're fighting a lot of friction even just trying to pull the string up. Yeah, and so this is just a scaled down version of something that I want to make out of some and you know what else too? Up there where I put the two lines together, I tied a knot here, and I think that knot is having a little bit of time going through that hole as well. Yeah, see, that's where you pull it and snatch it, and the knot from the fishing line goes through his arms go all the way up. I'll get it. But anyway, so that's one concept. In theory, it'll work. In theory, it's functional. In theory, you just have to figure out the pivot points, better joints, and how we want it to pull up. But essentially, this will work. I absolutely see it working. So I really just wanted a functional conception of a functioning piece to show the museum, and it works. It works good enough. I'll tie the string back and we'll get it working. Ha! Strong man. That shit hot though, right? See? Man, my science project was lit, son. I used to always do shit like this, son. Alright, so the second one we're going to do is, there was a all-black volunteer firefighting brigade, the Hook and Ladder Company, because back then they didn't have extension ladders and all this crap. So in order to rescue people from higher stories of buildings, they would have a long ladder with hooks on the end so that it can hook onto the windowsill. And there was a all-black volunteer firefighter brigade in the area, and I was going to honor them by just making a mock-up burning building, and then maybe have another little section they can slide in where you can see the guys, because they didn't have fire engines, they just had like horse and buggies with water on it. And so you can maybe have like a slide where if you slide something here, and you can see the horse and buggy like coming towards the house, and then you can open the door and there's like, all this fire on the first floor, so you can't go in there, so you would have to use the hook and ladder to come up to the second floor where maybe, there's a person you can save here, and then you open these windows, and there's like information about the fire brigade and the individuals who made it up, and then another image, and then another window with more information in it, and then it can be kind of separated to give like a more a 3D effect when you look through the door, kind of like you're actually like looking into a room. and behind the windows, and then I have like some little lights, like little orange, like kind of like Christmas lights or whatever, that maybe I can mount in the back and then have it glowing like fire. I thought that could be a cool piece, and so we're gonna actually work on this. And once again, these are just like some models, just to give the museum an idea, a visual conception of what I'm trying to achieve. So I think I can like cut this down some actually. And see how I can assemble this, and hopefully I won't have to have any fishing line on this one that keeps breaking on me.
Pinkerton is the co-founder and CEO of Brain Interface. For the past few years, he has been spending his holiday breaks and the occasional weekend in his dad's lab, working on his graphene brain-computer interface.
I was just at my dad's office after school, and we used a program called MathCAD just to type in a bunch of numbers to fit the characteristics of graphene for a brain interface. And at first, it wasn't working. And so we just kept tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until it finally was able to get to the low magnetic fields of human thought.
Graphene is an almost impossibly thin layer of carbon, only a single atom thick.
We've finished 2 prototypes that haven't utilized graphene. It's just Mylar, which is basically just saran wrap. The first prototype can reach 10 to the minus 3 Tesla, second prototype 10 to the minus 6, so really nowhere near. But this new graphene prototype that's about halfway done, if our math is correct, we'll be able to reach 10 to the minus 15, which is the level of human thought that we need to have for a successful brain interface.
The goal is to have a computer-brain interface that is small enough to fit in an earbud or the inside of a hat, that will allow users to use thoughts to control physical devices, like playing music on their phones or to control a prosthesis.
People know that it could be used for all these amazing things, but they really haven't found the killer application, and I think that's what we've done.
His goal is to keep the cost down so the technology can be available to anyone.
Right now, a lot of brain interface technology is super cumbersome, inefficient, or expensive. So we're hoping to get all 3 of those things sort of out of the way. It's basically, it can fit in an earbud, it can read the magnetic fields of human thought with no problem, and it's relatively inexpensive. You can imagine how good that could be for disabled people. They could move robotic arms just by wearing the earbuds and thinking about it, instead of having, well, basically their skull opened up and electrodes put on their brain.
Elon Musk's version of this technology might be one of those skull-opening options. Neuralink, a company co-founded by Musk, is working to add a digital, quote, third layer above the cortex that would work well and symbiotically with you.
The purpose of Neuralink is to create a high bandwidth interface to the brain such that we can be symbiotic with AI.
The Neuralink website has been little more than a list of job applications for a while, and an update has been teased as, quote, coming opening options. Neuralink, a company co-founded by Musk, is working to add a digital, quote, third layer above the cortex that would work well and symbiotically with you.
The purpose of Neuralink is to create a high bandwidth interface to the brain such that we can be symbiotic with AI.
The Neuralink website has been...
You guys understand what the fuck he's saying? I know you guys understand what you're talking about, right? A high bandwidth interface to the brain so that we can be symbiotic with AI. This is not a fucking joke, man. These dudes are really doing this shit. So crap. I'm dangerous in here, man. Dropping knives, I'm cutting towards myself. Alright, what I need to do is, honestly, I ain't gonna lie. I think I got a text message and I gotta go pee. So I'm gonna play this video and I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. Where's my phone at though? My phone is over here. Be right back.
More than a list of job applications for a while, and an update has been teased as, quote, coming soon for months. But this technology would supposedly require invasive surgery.
What it seems that they've done is they've taken rats and they've implanted this kind of grid of electrodes, but they've done it using a technique that they call like a sewing machine, which seems to like put these electrodes in really, really quickly. Because you have to be really specific when you plant these electrodes. But ultimately, what it seems to be for is a way of sort of linking brain activity in these rats to some kind of a computer and possibly to each other.
And the envelope keeps getting pushed further. A recent breakthrough at the University of California in San Francisco showed how researchers can read the brain's signals to the larynx, jaw, lips, and tongue, and translate them through a computer to synthesize speech.
The print that you are seeing is sight available in moves.
And in 2018, MIT revealed their alter ego device, which measures neuromuscular signals in the jaw to allow humans to converse in natural language with machines simply by articulating words internally. But how can you recognize certain brainwaves? How can you filter out the play music command over the constant noise of thoughts and brainwaves?
So when someone says they have a tool measuring brain waves, the first thing I want to ask is, how do you know they're actually brain waves, as opposed to just some electrical changes that happen from the head and neck? Like, for example, from the cranial nerves, the nerves that innervate the head and neck and help you blink or, feel your face. Because the signals from deep inside the brain
I like to
are
feel my
harder to get
face.
at.
See, in the example from the University of California in San Francisco and MIT, both studies focused on computers working out a person's intentions by matching brain signals to the physical movements that would usually activate in a person's vocal tract or jaw. They're using signals that would usually trigger muscles to simulate what the body would do. The deep internal thoughts and processes within our brain are still quite elusive.
Let's say that we're trying to create a device that allows us to play music from our Sonos or some speaker system in our house, right? So how I would imagine telling the Sonos to do that versus how someone else would might be pretty different. But you could train me to do it.
And that is exactly Pinkerton's intent.
And you can kind of almost teach the brain to do specific things over and over again.
Now, this is not entirely new information. We've been hooking brains up to machines to read electrical activity since the 1920s. And brain-computer interfaces?
These are tools that people have been working on since the 1970s. And there are still a lot of hurdles in terms of making them commercially available. For a lot of these tools, you actually need to sit very still and you need to keep very still. And so that doesn't have a lot of real-world applications. So I think that limitation is something that a lot of these engineers really are facing, is how do you continue to distinguish signal from noise when the person is moving? That's a major problem. But I feel like in the last 10 years, there's been a lot more interest in terms of commercial companies trying to create a product that allows this to happen. So, the example is virtual reality. I think that is a pretty clear way in which a BCI might be helpful.
Brain Interface said it has been approached by several technology and investment companies, but plans to finish its prototype later this year before seeking those opportunities.
Okay, I'm going to start off by just apologizing, because I find that people look at this bio-nano stuff as really, really spooky and scary. And so I'm just going to say in advance, I'm sorry, that's my Canadian side. You're not going to like all of this, but it will be a great conversation starter moving forward. The reason why so much of this is spooky is because it is unfamiliar to us. One person, and you can look at these later, but the thing I like about it is you don't need big manufacturing plants, and it doesn't take long and expensive phase clinical trials. All the approvals are done before you start. So this shaves all the time and most of the money off of drug development. It de-risks costs. Why haven't we done it before? The technology wasn't viable. So it's still too crazy and too early to do this for human beings at scale. So we started working with it. We started prototyping, and my partner in crime here is a brilliant veterinarian by the name of Bruce Smith. He's a veterinary oncologist. They're kind of unicorns. There's only 300 of them in the United States, and he's the only one that I'm aware of that has a PhD in molecular biology and has actually made viruses to kill cancer cells. He's a wonderful man. And together we prototyped the synthetic production of something called canine adenovirus 2. It's a weak virus, but it had never been synthesized from scratch. It's the largest synthetic virus that's ever been made. We did this last year. It was successful. We made synthetic DNA, we booted it up in cell culture, we validated it against the natural virus. The only reason why we haven't treated a dog yet is because it's such a weak virus, the cancer cells it needs to grow on faster than the virus can infect them. We're fixing that now.
Use someone else's video clip or audio clip in your own YouTube video, but you're worried that that could end you up in jail, or worse, you might lose your YouTube channel? A bunch of people have made videos on fair use, but all these videos, these tons and tons of videos and articles, they don't answer the main question that I know you have. How do I use someone else's copyrighted art in my own YouTube video and not get slammed by YouTube with copyright strikes? Stay tuned.
I don't want to use anybody else shit's just copyright. I just want to tell how can you tell if something does have a copyright on it? Because the last video that I got banned for was a clip from the radio TV show The Breakfast Club. Now, when the email came to me and said that, hey, you use this clip without permission and now you're in trouble. But before I watch clips, I look at the description of the clip and you click on it where it says more info. And most of the time it will say this video was copywritten on such and such date. And if you don't see it, it's specifically saying it has a copyright on it, then I thought you can use it. So the video clip from the Breakfast Club that I played did not say it had a copyright on it. I looked at it and it was not there. Who emailed me was Pandora. And Pandora said that they own the rights to that clip, and by me playing it, they were able to give me a strike on YouTube. And I'm like, how in the hell is that even possible that Pandora owns the clip from fucking The Breakfast Club, but then the YouTube clip that I played didn't say it had a copyright on it, and it didn't have any mention of Pandora. So that shit just confused the hell out of me.
वीडियो पब्लिश करने से पहले आप चेक करना चाहते हैं कि आपके वीडियोस में कॉपीराइट स्ट्राइक आने वाला है कि नहीं आने वाला है, तो ये वीडियो आप आखिर तक देखिए। तो चलिए देखते हैं। नमस्कार दोस्तों, मैं देवाशीष और
Bro, if I spoke Arabic, I would definitely listen to your channel, but I have no idea what you're saying. The beat is hot.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm gonna do a quick tutorial today on how I check if my music is copyrighted before I use it and say any edits or any videos. That way you can continue to monetize your videos however you please. But, so imagine if I wanted to use a song by J. Cole. Obviously this is copyrighted, obviously you're gonna get striked, claimed, whatever Dreamville chooses to do because they own the rights to the music. But, so what I go from here is I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to go to a website called beatviz.com. Once again, I highly suggest you use AdBlock because this is really good. But this is just the fastest downloader I have. I understand that I have others that can download the video and take it, but that's not really necessary right now. Just download any one that you want. It doesn't really matter. All you do is audio. It's just going to get AdBlock. Ads are annoying. Please use AdBlock, guys. Please. I know my computer's got all kinds of viruses and all kinds of stuff, but anyways, after you download the music video, I'll be right back and I'll show you guys what to do. Alright guys, so the download's finished, and next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to upload it to
Hey, how's it going?
Yo, it is so crazy how this fucking digital shit work, yo. Like, I brought Adobe Photoshop like last week, and I swear to fucking God, every time I switch a video on YouTube and they give you your little commercial, it's an Adobe commercial, yo. That's the only commercials they show me now is Adobe commercials ever since I brought Adobe Photoshop. I've seen this Adobe commercial like 1,000 times. It's like, yo, before I brought Adobe Photoshop, random commercials, Toyota commercials, shampoo commercials or whatever. Ever since I bought my subscription to Adobe Photoshop, it's like they show me that commercial all the time. That shit is crazy.
This is your groovy YouTube expert, Daryl Eves. Now you're getting ready to make your next YouTube video and you want to use some popular music, but you're really worried about using that music because you don't know what copyright claims are on it or what restrictions or if it's going to be blocked out in certain countries. Well, guess what, guys? There's a new tool out there that's super cool. So if you're going to use popular music in your next YouTube video or do your next cover song, you need to watch this training. Stay tuned. DarylEves.com. Now YouTube's made it really easy.
Everybody is talking about music. I'm just worrying about like anything, like the science lecture we was listening to just now. Like, how can I find material like that? Documentaries, lectures, speeches, debates, conversations, not necessarily just music. But I don't want to listen to like a science lecture and that shit comes up, oh, this was copyrighted and blah, 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 blah. But every time I typed in how to know if a video has a copyright, and it just keep talking about music. Like any kind of video. I'm not specifically geared towards music. Like, how can I know if any video has a copyright? comes back to the same thing. Like, these are, I'm not trying to, if it does have a copyright, fine, whatever, but I just want to be able to tell. Adobe Photoshop commercial, yo. Yo, I swear to God. Okay, look. And I'm just gonna do this just to test this shit. I'm gonna switch videos again and see what commercial they play in between that shit. So that's 3 times in a row just now. That was the 3rd time they played me an Adobe commercial. Alright, so let's go back. Let's just select the video. Oh, that was the same video I did last time. Let's see. A different video. Let's do black guy.
3 strikes, and you're out.
Alright, no commercial. How do I skip? Let's skip to the next video where they make a.
I'm going to show you exactly.
Oh, now they don't want to play any commercials at all, right?
Secret.
Okay.
So
why now they won't even give me one commercial? But anyway, the last 3 commercials in a row.
Exactly how to get more views.
Swear to God, it was
The secret.
Let's just click something. That's crazy. Now they don't want to play any commercials. I guess they listened to me just now like, oh, he's catching on. Don't play any more commercials for a while. That was really crazy. Now I can't even get one commercial. Where the last time, each time I switched the video, they would play an Adobe commercial. And then I mention it and try to show you guys. Now they won't play any commercials. Weird. That's pretty weird.
Some of my best ideas come when I'm dreaming.
This is the Adobe commercial.
Maybe.
Adobe. Yo, I swear. Adobe Creative Cloud. Bro, every time I get a fucking commercial, it's an Adobe commercial.
Looking at Renegade.
Now that's the second commercial. The second commercial is a car commercial. But every time those first commercials pop up, it's an Adobe commercial.
Well, yeah, you can. And the other thing is that I can see it right from here on the freaking monitor. Look at the background.
Yeah.
How absolutely incompetent do you have to be to actually get the back? Oh, I can't see it when I turn around. I've still got blue screen. What is going on? Have we done a mic check or anything? Because I see all the calls lit up. Hello? I don't get any answers now. I bet I could pick some Yahoo from the chat room do a better job than what you guys are doing in here. There's like 30 freaking atheist groups that would love to have me come do their TV show, and I gotta come in here and do this crap every week. It's always broken. You guys, when are we going live? Holy shit, we're live. April Fool's.
Wow.
Alright.
Yo, that shit is busted.
Hey everybody, welcome to Atheist Experience Live. It's April 1st, 2012, and that's all of the tomfoolery that we actually are going to bother doing.
Okay, so, yo, man, this spinach dip. You get you some spinach dip, and some horseradish, and mix that shit together. Yo, that shit too good. And wash it down with a ginger beer. You don't know how happy my taste buds are right now. Those motherfuckers are exuberant. Mm. I'm in goddamn heaven. What they say, you need to make your heaven on earth. I be living that shit. Because right now there is no other place I'd rather be. There's nothing else I'd rather be doing. And I feel damn good. Mm. Delicious, man. That's all I got to say. It's delicious. That was a very delicious snack. Mm. Now,
because as most of you know, not only is it a live show that used to be 90 minutes, but it's an hour now, and an hour seems to fly by, and we barely get to, I mean, there have been shows where we got like 2 calls in. We'll try and do a little bit better today. I'm your host this week, Matt Doherty. Joining me, Tracy Harris. Welcome.
Thank you.
And this is a live public access television program sponsored by the Atheist Community of Austin, a nonprofit educational organization promoting positive atheism and the separation of church and state. You can visit the website, www.atheist-community.org, for more information about the group. And you can visit the website for the show, www.atheist-experience.com. And there's actually an archive of old episodes and information you can find. And I had Beth actually dug through the archives, and this is like my 236th show or something like that over the past 6+ years. So, yeah, and while my little prima donna tirade before the show was for amusement, we are constantly trying to make things better here. But as a reminder, it's a public access studio. We don't own this stuff. There's limited things we can change, and sometimes being live TV with equipment that other people mess with, things are just going to go wrong. We'll do our best to get it working today.
Lou.
We've already got full lines. I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time.
Lou, what it do?
Keeping people on hold. Quick reminders: after the show's over, we get together and go to dinner at El Arroyo. They'll have the address up probably before.
So he the fastest man on 3 wheels.
And this program is only one of many things that the ACA does, including 2 other podcasts, The Nonprofits and Godless Pitches. You can find out more information about both of those at the ACA website. There is a Sunday morning brunch, monthly lecture series.
When the hell them damn scissors went?
Happy hour. The ACA
man, y'all see my scissors?
Coming up Saturday, April 14th, meeting at the Dog and Duck. You can find information about all of those events at the website. There's also a frequently asked questions page and tons of other information, ways to get a hold of us. If you don't get through on the phone today or you don't want to, you can send an email to tv@atheist-community.org. That goes to myself, the co-host, a lot of people behind the scenes. If you'll get an answer or who might be answering you. But we do our best to read all of them. I'm a little behind, as always. I don't even know why I bother saying it. It should just be a given. Matt's never going to catch up on you. So how are you?
Good.
Did you survive the party last night?
I did.
Yeah, it was a drunken rout at my house last night, which actually was kind of tame.
Yeah.
We're just boring people. There's kind of nothing to it. Did you enjoy any particular April Fool's events today?
I liked, my favorite one was the blog about us getting picked up by Fox News.
Yes.
I thought that was really good. I even posted a comment saying that it's about change from the inside, and that it would be like joining the KKK to promote racial equality and change the organization from the inside. And
It's not that far from things that I've actually been accused of. That, for example,
Yo, I swear I don't see my scissors right
after the
now.
rapture, so that I can, make the changes after the rapture to lead people back to God type thing. I wish we were on Fox News, like right after Bill O'Reilly to correct things.
I'm so confused.
Anyway, that's what we got. We got full phone lines. We'll go ahead and get started right now. We got Luca in New York. How are you?
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
Pretty good.
All right, hey, Tracy, do you remember me from all the pestering with philosophical questions on Facebook?
I don't know, the name Lucas sounds familiar, but I get a lot of questions.
I can imagine. All right, so I have, I think, a pretty solid argument against, standard Christianity, which is based on basically mathematical inevitability.
I really don't know what I did with those scissors just
If you
now.
attempt it for eternity, it will never happen.
Wait.
Whereas if something is possible,
Where my
it's
scissors
extremely
went, bro?
unlikely if you have an infinite number of times in which you can try it.
I just had the dang scissors.
It will happen, but it's like mathematically
Did I
inevitable.
carry them somewhere with me? Did I take them out of the studio? I don't know why. I would have took them out of the
Which
studio.
are
But
one, that if you go to hell, if you die and go to hell, you're stuck there forever. And two, the devil used to be an angel and was cast down from
my
from
scissors.
heaven into hell. So from that, you justify that, and it means that if you go to hell, you're stuck there forever. It's impossible for you to go to heaven. But we know for a fact that it's possible to go from heaven to hell because it happened to the devil. And therefore, if it's possible, and everybody in heaven has an infinite number of opportunities for that to happen to them, for something along the lines of what happened to the devil, happened to them, like, they piss off God or something, then it's statistically inevitable that they all will end up in hell eventually, maybe after billions of years. But everybody from the Pope to the Apostles, the Archangel Gabriel, everybody is just statistically doomed to do the same thing that the devil.
Alright, I got some backup scissors, but
allegedly they do. And so
these ain't my good scissors.
that God ever created
Where my scissors went, man?
actually end up in hell tortured forever, so that really compounds the evil nature of this God entity.
My short-term memory is.
How do we know that angels aren't different than people?
We know that angels aren't different than people.
Yeah.
So this whole thing might only apply to angels and humans are safe from it?
I wouldn't know, but I mean, I'm just asking. Obviously, it's hypothetical.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I guess we don't know, but then if you make that same argument, you could say, how do you know that the devil is not being different from other angels or in some way unique so that all of this only applies to him?
He could be. I guess. I mean, theoretically, I guess hypothetically, he could be. The other question I had, and this is just not even really, I don't even know how it applies, but what is the in-between, like in between heaven and hell? Like, what happens to people when they die, but they're not in heaven or hell yet? Like, there's been no judgment yet, and they're dead. What is that? Like, how does that fit in?
Purgatory?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because Jesus went and preached to the dead, and yet he went to heaven later. So when you were saying no one can be in hell and go to heaven, it's like, well, I don't know if he was in hell, but he went somewhere where the dead people were and like preached
Oh yeah,
to them.
actually, you know, Tracy, you're right. It is in Revelation that says that Jesus did go to hell and preside over the torturing of.
Well, I think what he did was, I thought he preached to the dead. I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna sit here and get a whole bunch of things wrong when we start dealing with little fantasy stories, especially some of them that come from different doctrine, like the harrowing of hell is not like a Protestant doctrine at all. But
those are just the questions I would ask if someone approached me with that. I guess
Yeah.
that would be the first things that I would think of.
this is one of those things that sorry, but even if you got it right, it has absolutely no impact.
Based on imaginary stuff, so I was just trying to have some fun with it.
All right, well, cool. Thanks for calling.
All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, we've got Brooks in Shreveport. How are you?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
My two favorite hosts.
My two favorite. I know he's from the South.
I'm recently, quote unquote, come out
I've tried to do like British and Australian accents and like Swedish accents, and especially like you get somebody who can do a good Russian accent. I can't do none of that shit. But I'm so fucking country, man. I can sure do a goddamn southern accent like ain't nobody else. I'm tell you what, boy. Shit. Cause really, that's how I really talk anyway. You know what I'm saying? I like to eat shrimp. Me and my kinfolk go down to the creek, go fishing, get some catfish.
Thank you.
I can't do any other kind of accent.
And, you know, they're all very, very Christian, so it's kind of difficult. But I'm very new to arguing with Christians and stuff like that. And the reason I haven't come out
making something
now is because I've been
see in a minute.
arguing with Christians, and I didn't want to have to deal with that. So recently, somebody posted a picture on Facebook that was like talking about how homosexuality is inconsistent, or it's inconsistent to say that homosexuality is a sin, but wearing a poly-cotton blend sweater is not.
Sure.
You know? So, and then some Christian got on there and said, oh my God, we live in the New Testament now. We don't live in the Old Testament anymore. This doesn't apply, blah, blah, blah.
Cool, so let's check out the Ten Commandments.
And I challenged, I'm sorry?
Then let's check out the Ten Commandments.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And so I challenged that. I challenged his comment by, you know, saying, well, why is God changing his mind? You know, he's supposed to be unchanging, and you know, if it's moral then, it should be moral now. And
yeah, it's kind of sad that basically we're expected to know more about their Bible and their religion than they are. And whenever somebody just wants to shrug off the entirety of the Old Testament, I just pretty much look at them and shake my head, because when you do that, first of all, you get rid of the creation story. You get rid of the fall, which is the entire reason that you need some sort of sacrifice in the New Testament. You get rid of the Ten Commandments. You get rid of a butt ton of laws. You also get rid of everything that Christians would like to claim as prophecy for their New Testament. And so if we just set all of that aside and we go with the New Testament, what are we left with? Well, we're left with a couple of obvious known forgeries, some anonymous documentation. By the way, the New Testament's also against homosexuality. Paul's very clear about that. So, you know, and then you've got the ravings of a lunatic to close it off with things that don't make much sense that people can interpret in any way they want. I don't really see much value in that, but if they want to be just a New Testament, you know, believer and not an Old Testament believer, that's fine. There's plenty of stuff to challenge in the new one. Slavery is still acknowledged and supported. As a matter of fact, it's encouraged for slaves to obey their masters, including the cruel masters, and I think that that's an immoral proclamation. That the only thing you should tell a slave is to get out as fast as you can, and if you got a cruel master, you take whatever steps are necessary to escape and help others do it. How hard was that to write?
Well, we eventually, me and this guy, we got in a pretty lengthy argument, and he was talking about, let me see if I can pull up that word, because I'm unfamiliar with the word. Where'd it go? Dispensations, and how, you know, it kind of nixes off the law and all that stuff. And then the fact that Jesus was crucified fulfills the law, and that's why we don't have to get circumcised anymore, and all that bullshit.
How fortunate. I'm really glad that God had to come down and take human form and be tortured and die so that we could stop cutting off parts of people's penises. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, see, I just didn't know how to respond to him. So, like I said, I'm new to this whole arguing thing, and I'm not really that comfortable with it, so I didn't know how to respond to him when he said that.
I think most Christians don't really even understand how the law and the like
no, they haven't
New
been out
Testament.
to
You have to remember, like that heading New Testament, that divider in the Bible that says New Testament, that's added. There is no original manuscript for that divider. People put that in, and the idea is that you had this law. Yahweh made this deal with the Hebrews specifically, and a guy named Abraham, and he made a deal, and he said, I'll give you all this land, and I'll make your, you know, descendants this great nation,
and your job is to worship me solely, and wherever you go, I will protect you. And this is kind of unique because most gods were territorial gods, and so he was saying, I will travel with you and protect you everywhere, and you do everything I say, and I will, give you all this cool stuff. And so him and Abraham make the deal, and the Hebrew history in the Old Testament is one of, like, they keep falling away, and then God reneges on parts of the deal, and because they fell away and didn't keep their part of the deal, they weren't still worshiping him, and so he would say, well, then I'm going to have you enslaved, and so this goes on and on for a long time. And in the meantime, they have this law, this, like, elaborate, crazy, almost like Sharia-like law, where they're killing all these animals to atone for their sins. Like, so they sacrifice these animals, makes up for your sin. The idea in the New Testament with Jesus, like, after they get the story with the resurrection and all of that, you get this concept that comes out of that is that he was that sort of final perfect sacrifice so that no more animals now have to be slaughtered in order to atone for your wrongdoing, because now there's a human sacrifice that was like a God sacrifice as well, that is a perfect sacrifice that atones for sin all across the board now. And so from that, you end up with people saying, well, we don't have this law anymore. But there becomes a big confusion that happens because the law never applied to anybody but the Hebrews anyway. Okay, it wasn't a law for anybody but the Hebrews. So unless you're a Jew, you're not bound to that full gamut of the law as a Christian, because Christians were a subset of Jews, and then they started taking in Gentiles. And then there's these debates that happen in the Bible. Like you can see in the New Testament, the arguments about can we take non-Jews into this group of, the Christian churches, or should we not? And if we do take them in, what are they obligated to? Do they have to become Jews first? Do they have to convert to Judaism in order to be a Christian? And there's all these debates that happen in, like, Acts, for example. You got Acts 15, Acts 21. And ultimately it's very confused. There's not like a resolution, but ultimately how I read it is that Paul finally, who was like the Gentile champion of put Gentiles in the church, he finally comes down on the side of the Jews should keep the law, but the Jews in the church, the Christian Jews, should keep the law. The Gentile Christians need to come in, and there's some laws they should keep because everybody knows these laws, and Moses has been preached in the synagogues for years and years and years, and these are good laws, and so they need to keep to the sexual immorality laws. They need to refrain from meat sacrificed to idols. They don't need to be circumcised, and they don't have to, the rest of the law will kind of let them off, because if you make them have to adhere to the Jewish law, it's just going to lower our numbers. So kind of as a weird marketing thing, Paul makes this compromise where he says, let's make them adhere to some of the law. But the Jewish Christians are going to adhere to all of it, and not only are they going to adhere to all of it, but they're going to raise their children in the law as well while they're in the Christian church. So the idea that the law is just done away with is sort of like this blanket thing that Christians are taught from the pulpit, but not many of them actually go into their Bibles and read the details about what exactly is going on with that.
This actually, there's a couple things that tie together, which I think demonstrably prove that the bulk of the Christian and Jewish doctrine is false. And that is that Jews are under the Abrahamic covenant and Gentiles are under the Noahic covenant, because the Bible teaches that everybody on earth is spawned from the 8 people who survived on Noah's Ark. And since we know that that's a bunch of hogwash, clearly their entire basis for making a distinction between two groups is false. And when we go back to this idea of original sin and the idea that not only are you presumed guilty or born guilty because of this introduction of sin, but that the covenant that you're under is based on your bloodline and all these other things. And scientifically, we know we can trace our ancestry back, and that there are civilizations that appear to be completely oblivious to this global flood thing and the survival of 8 species. Or 8 individuals. It's one of those things where there are Christians who say, well, of course it wasn't a global flood. And there are other Christians who will say that it was a global flood. The ones that are saying it was, some of them are saying so because they understand that there's a big problem with their theology if it wasn't a global flood. If it was just a regional flood, where these 8 people survived, and so you've got this 8 people spawning a couple of lineages, one that leads to the Jews and one that leads to the Gentiles. What about all of those other people who lived in other areas? They're not under either one of those covenants, and none of this stuff applies to them. It's this web of absurdity that you get when people who don't know what actually happened in the past start writing a history about what happened in the past.
And if you try to get clarification, if you're looking for what is the Christian Orthodox view on the law, you're not going to find consensus. And there's not going to be like, oh, here's what Christians think about they're all going to have this concept of this, there's a different thing now. But as far as how it applies and why and what to do with it, they're all different. You're not going to, it's going to be a hard argument because they all have different ideas about it, and most of them are going to change their ideas and start tweaking them as soon as they have to start answering questions because they haven't looked into it before, most of them.
But we got off on a lot of information, Brooks, and I'd say just with regard to your issue, don't worry about it. You're not required to prove them wrong. That's a shifting of the burden of proof. You're not required to be an expert about what they believe. They need to make their case, and if they're unable to do it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you saying, I'm just not convinced, or even, I'm just not interested.
And well, one thing really quickly, there's 2 questions that can wrap it really fast so that you don't have to go down this road at all if you still want to deal with the law issue, and that is, do you believe that, you can ask the person, do you believe that God imposed that law in the Old Testament, that it was in effect and it was from God? And if so, do you agree that it's immoral? And if they're not willing to admit that it's an immoral law, then they have to defend it whether they think they're under it now or not, because they have to say that at the time it was imposed, it was moral to, for example, kill gay people. If they want to say it wasn't ever moral, then they have to say whether or not they think their God imposed that law. And if they'll say, no, God had nothing to do with the law, they're off the hook, but that makes other problems. If they say God, did impose that law, then they do have to answer the question, do you agree that it was an immoral law?
Right. All right, well, I think that pretty much sums it all up.
All right.
And I can watch this later and take notes.
Okay. Thanks for calling, Bruce. Bye-bye. All right, we got Dale in Queensland. Thanks for waiting.
How you going, Matt?
Hello.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me clear?
Yes.
Cool. My question is to you, Matt, is do you believe that you're an atheist?
Yes, that's the label. That's one of the labels that I use. Yeah.
Well, this is my question to you. You cannot believe you're an atheist because atheists do not have a belief system.
Atheist.
No, that's not. Dale, that's not true. The fact that atheism is not a belief system doesn't mean that atheists don't have beliefs.
As people.
I have lots of beliefs, and all that is separate from whether or not atheism is a belief system, which it's not. I can believe I'm an atheist for the same reason I can believe I'm a male. Male is not a belief system either.
So why would some atheists say that atheism is a lack of belief?
Atheism is a lack of belief in God claims, not a lack of belief in anything.
Cool. I've got other questions too.
That wasn't even a question.
Just bear with me. Matt, does it require, is faith required to be an atheist?
No.
No?
No.
So faith wouldn't be required for you to be an atheist, wouldn't it?
No, faith is not required to be an atheist.
So if you believe you're an atheist, then how can you say you got no faith that you're an atheist? It's not logical, because belief and having faith are the same thing. Don't you agree?
No, I don't agree. Faith is the reason that people give for having a belief when they don't have good reasons. Faith is not a belief. It's the attempted justification that people offer for a belief. You can believe all sorts of things, and you can believe them for good reasons, and you can believe them for bad reasons. I choose to believe things for good reasons. I don't even think I choose to believe. I think I'm forced by rationality to believe things for good reasons, or to prefer to believe things for good reasons. So I'm an atheist, which simply means I do not believe that a God exists. I don't have to have faith to believe that. It's the default position, by the way. Somebody claims, hey, a God exists, and my default position is, I don't believe it. Can you prove it?
It's like the Bigfoot thing. If you say, I don't believe a Bigfoot exists, that doesn't mean that I don't have other beliefs in other things. It just means I don't believe that.
Do you believe that?
Do I believe
in Bigfoot?
No, I don't.
Well, how come it's shown on TV shows like Unsolved Mysteries?
Because it's an unsolved mystery? If it was solved, then you'd have a justification to believe it.
It's shown on TV, Bigfoot and that. You can't, yeah. My next question is...
Wait, Dale? Yeah? Do you believe Bigfoot exists?
No, not really.
It's shown on TV.
Yeah, even though it's shown on TV, I need to see where in history Bigfoot actually exists.
Does it take faith to not believe in Bigfoot?
Sorry?
Does it take faith not to believe in Bigfoot?
It takes disbelief, unbelief.
But that's not faith, right?
That's unbelief.
Right, so it's like unfaith.
It's unbelieving, right?
Right, so it's
like
not faith.
unbelieving.
Yeah, it's not faith, it's unbelief, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So you already understand all this stuff. You already understand the exact same examples we've given.
Matt, a Christian Christians have faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think most of them would, yeah.
All right. Is atheism based on truthful facts?
I think you answered it before. It's based on unbelief.
So atheism is based on unbelief then?
Yes.
Atheism is disbelief
right.
of the God claims. It's not a position that is based. Well, the reason that I'm an atheist is because I'm a skeptic and a critical thinker, and when I am presented with the claim a God exists, and I evaluate the evidence supporting that claim, I find the evidence lacking. So I persist in my disbelief. I don't need to have evidence that there isn't a God in order to be justified.
Just like you don't need evidence there's not a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You would need evidence there is a Bigfoot, right? You don't need evidence there's not a Bigfoot to not believe it. You need evidence there is one to be convinced there is one. Until you get that evidence, you just don't believe it because you haven't gotten the evidence that makes you a believer.
And I'm a little worried at this point, Dale, because we've had a little back and forth in questions and things, and we've answered them. And it seems almost like you're reading from a script where one question necessarily follows from an expected answer from the previous one, and you're not getting the expected answers.
But he does seem to be listening to our answers. I give you that.
So I'm a good listener, right? I'll let you speak in that. I just got another question, Matt. I've been watching the Atheist Experience videos, and I noticed that you said you were a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
There is one thing I want to know, hear from you, is when you prayed, did you pray according to God's word, yes or no?
Yes.
So you had faith that God would answer your prayer?
Yes.
So if you had faith that God would answer your prayers, would you say now that you have faith in God?
No, I'd say that I used to believe based on faith, and it was irrational of me to do so, and when I discovered that, I couldn't believe any longer.
How did you discover that?
How did I discover what?
That it was irrational.
Oh.
That God is not real.
Sure. I spent a couple of years in study in the hopes of eventually becoming a minister, and I read some things that specifically challenged my beliefs. And then when I went to go seek answers, both from other believers and in prayer and in reading, and I found that the things that I assumed to be true for my entire life, or the things that I had been led to believe were true, were based on really bad evidence, logical fallacies, and so the next step of this was, okay, well maybe some of these people just don't really have great arguments for it. There must be some good argument for it. But failing to find one of those, the only position that is available at that point is to not believe. If you care about what's true, and that was one of the critical things, was saying, I don't want to believe something just because I've always believed it, or because my family believes it, or because it kind of felt real to me at some time, or because I would prefer that it's true. I want to believe my girls that are actually true. And if you can't demonstrate that it's true,
like she's ready, like now. She's like, come get me now. I'm ready to go home now. So let me shut this studio down and go grab her from work. And when I come back, I'll probably stream again and finish trying to assemble this display that I've been working on. Yo, thanks for chilling in the studio with me. We did get some things accomplished, so I figured I'll make some braces for this. I broke the first one, which is good. I'm happy that it broke here now instead of like breaking in front of somebody else. So when I come back, I'll try to reassemble the first model that I made and see if I can get these prepared for tomorrow. Catch you guys later. Peace.